YouTube, we are here today with my boy Eric, and now what he wanted to do is he likes the length and he likes the flow that he has on top, but the goal is that he wants to get rid of this like mullet style that he has in the back. Being happy with the flow on the side and the length that he has here, we're gonna have to make sure that we pretty much match this, and then we're gonna bring it all the way throughout the back. So a lot of haircuts that come in the barbershop is give me a taper, give me a skin fade, but I want to show you guys how to handle specific requests like this when dealing with length. How can you approach this with an organized system so you can guarantee your results? So let's go ahead and jump into this. Hey guys, I'm in the middle of editing your next video. I just wanted to interject here really quick. I'm gonna have memberships available on the channel. These videos can be scheduled a week, 2 weeks, maybe a month in advance. If you want to be able to access the videos early and not have to wait for them like everybody else, then you can join the membership. Maybe we can do some members only live streams that can make more tailored content specifically to help you with the struggles that you're having in your career. If you guys need help getting your career to 6 figures, the channel memberships will be available very, very soon. Should be by the time that this video drops. And the other thing is I accidentally referred to this clipper as the Instinct 2. It's not the Instinct 2, it's actually the SABER Clipper 2 that comes out at the end of October. But we'll get into that. So back to the haircut. Eric's hair is definitely one that just soaks up water. I feel like I have to spray his head down maybe 10 times, throughout the whole haircut. But just that really thick, really healthy hair, man, it's just gonna absorb water. So just make sure you get as much saturation in his hair as you can. So look, just like we always do, we have to make sure that we look for the crown in his head. So if we start just looking at how the hair naturally lays, you'll see that hair bounces back up, right? So we have to find the point where all the hair just lays naturally. And you can see none of this hair is really fighting us anymore. Now that we've combed all this out, all the hair is laying exactly where it wants to. Nothing is bouncing and springing back. So we can consider this the crown of his head. Turn your head this way. And then you guys can see here, he already has like a natural split. If you look at how the hair falls, you see how right there, the hair kind of changes direction and naturally falls that way. So I want to connect this natural split to the natural split in the back with his crown. So we've got one clean separation there. Now we can go ahead and go to the other side and do the same thing over again. So if I just brush this hair this way, you can already see that there's some hairs here in this area that naturally want to come this way. That's the natural split that we're looking for. If we can cut his hair according to the natural growth patterns, instead of fighting against them, we can end up with a really nice result. So look, I'm gonna keep splitting the hair here. Cool. So we have an organized plan now. Now we have a system that we can follow and sections we can work with just to make sure that we can achieve the result that we want. Okay, so the first thing that we're gonna wanna do as far as this hair, now remember, we wanna respect this length here. He wants to get rid of that in the back. And he also likes the length up front that he has on top. So I'm gonna pull this hair out, and all we're gonna do is just make sure that we even it out a little bit. I want to make sure that I can give myself a foundation to follow. You see, I'm not cutting much hair at all. I'm respecting his request to keep the length on the sides. But now you can see here, you see where it starts to flare out? That right there is pretty much where the bulk in the back is starting to happen. So now, look at how much more drastic that difference is. I'm going to take this all the way around. This is basically the parietal ridge area of the haircut. Look at how much now we can take off, even though we're holding at the same distance from the scalp, right? This is going to set our top foundation. So now that I've made it about halfway back, right, now we're going to return to the front, because I just want to make sure that I don't keep on moving and keep on rolling to where he's going to have an uneven baseline. Right, you'll have a little more control. Similar to a hairline, you'll work your way from here to here, then here to here, rather than working all the way across. So we're gonna pick up where we left off here and meet the back. And sure enough, just like the other side, now you could see the drastic difference. So now we have a great foundation to work with, and now basically we can make sure that we have the rest of the top blended in to make sure that nothing else is gonna hang over excessively. So of course, this is going to involve resaturating the hair again, just to be able to have full control. The thing is that if you start with the hair saturated while you're cutting it, and you let the hair dry out, and then you're cutting it with some areas that are more saturated than others, you know, it's just not, it's gonna be hard to have full control of the hair. So look, if I'm combing forward, you're gonna see these lines that are created with the comb. So now, I'm gonna go ahead and take advantage of those lines. See, that hair wants to fall this way, I'm not gonna fight it, I'm just gonna let it happen. Okay, now same thing here. We're gonna follow these lines to create the next natural split. This is just gonna make sure that we don't have any excess hangover. We shouldn't have much, but either way, it's just part of the process. You know, bring it out. I see a short point here, so I'm gonna go ahead and just trim only what's necessary so that way the hair can flow in harmony. The top with the sides. Again, bring it down here. Oh.
It feels right. Yeah, everybody I work with people and stuff, man. You know, we're all tripping. We all talk a lot of shit. You know, because I'm the cat, man. If I talk a little smack, like busted balls.
So if we pull up some pieces from the left and from the right now, you know, you'll be able to see if there are any inconsistencies here. And then this is the point just where you can make sure that you even it out. You'll see there's not really gonna be much to cut because we used the same system to cut him last time. So I just need to make sure that the hair is growing back even. And you see there's not much to cut there at all. Maybe just a couple loose hairs here and there just to make sure that it's all flowing correctly. Now we can go ahead and brush this back into place. While his hair is still saturated, I'm gonna put some Tomb 45 indestructible clay in the hair. So we'll go ahead and open up this clay and then just take a decent amount. What is important though is that you emulsify the product. You do wanna rub your hands together until you feel the warmth in your hands, and now just work it in all the way down to the root. And you really don't have to put a whole lot of product in the hair either. Like you saw, I really only put about a fingertip's worth. But that's just to give the hair just a little bit of volume, a little bit of control. He really doesn't need a whole lot of product because his hair naturally is voluminous. I just want something that I can control the hair a little bit better with. We'll brush the top style into place, and then we're gonna let that product air dry while we move on to the sides. So as far as bringing this down now from the sides, just to be able to match it, you know, you could take a guard, a large guard, for example, like a number 8. You know, let's say if you run this through here, you can see this is the point where the hair is actually cut. It's barely has like a little 1/4 inch of hair on there. So this is gonna blend real nice. And since we know it's gonna work here and he wants to preserve this look going all the way around, I should be able to run this all the way around using a straight up and down motion, so that way we can bring the back in harmony with the sides. So let's go ahead and take that new Instinct 2. We're gonna go and put that guard on there and we're gonna run it straight up. We'll run it here through the sides just to make sure that we don't miss any hairs. And you may be able to hear the effects of that echo blade. So you can see while we're going through here, you can hear the hair, every single one being cut. You can hear and appreciate that crunch going through. I'm using that straight up and down motion, and it's not missing any hairs, guys. This thing is cutting all the way through. Do a couple passes with a nice soft touch at the very top to make sure that you don't lose this shape here. Because that was the whole purpose of us setting the foundation the way that we did. And now if you would like to, now that the top is done and the side, the bulk is done, not the taper yet, but this is the technique I was talking about where it's like, don't really worry about if you have too harsh of a shelf, because you can do this technique here. Now that the hair is brushed into the style, now we can elevate a section of hair right here. You can see it from both angles how it looks. And you can see just a small little shelf right here. That's what the clipper missed. And now we can just continue and tie all the rest of this together. You'll see that shelf right there. Bam. And we'll keep doing that all the way around the head. This is probably one of my favorite parts about cutting hair, right? Is just like being able to tie all this together, problem solve. And look, I want you to see, I'm not just cutting straight up and guessing. That's the short hair that I'm aiming for. I want to make sure that you see that, so that way you don't just go guessing all the way through this hair cutting process. Look, again, short point, long point in the middle. And that's the system I use continuously, over and over again. Whether I'm cutting the top, the sides, the corners, you see two short points, you connect them. Only time I would say that you wouldn't do that where you're connecting short points is if it's an undercut per se, where you want to have a non-blended look, like the Brad Pitt Fury. But you really don't have many clients coming in asking for that anymore. That style, thankfully, has faded away. I had myself a undercut like that for a little while, and it was a weird look. Let's go ahead and get this all brushed back into place, and then we can take care of our tapers. Do you want it like a skin taper at the bottom, going up to a 2, or do you want me to just taper it down to a 2 where it's still dark?
I think where it's still dark.
Okay, so you don't really want a skin taper, you just want to have like tapered it down to short and tight with a lineup, with an edge. In the back too, you want to edge it up in the back? Yeah. Okay, okay. So we can actually start to just kind of clipper over comb that section there. I'm glad I asked you, bro. I was about ready to bald you out for a second there. That's why consultation is so important.
It would have worked. Yeah.
It would have been fresh either way, but I want to make sure you're fresh the way that you want to, not how I want to. But this is still such a clean look, bro, like a super professional. Okay, so what I'm gonna do for the very back, we already know that we have the 8 is the bulk for most of it, right? So let's go ahead and cut that in half down, right? Let's start off here with like a number 4, and we could take that number 4 and still using the same motions, right? Where I feel the ramp of his scalp, right? And I'm just gonna take that clipper right up off the ridge. Right, not this ridge all the way up here, but really off the ridge that's created by his nape. So I'll take that 4 right there, just to debulk a little bit, to soften up any line that I may have left. I'm gonna put the 4 open, a wide open 4. I will take it down one more level, right here now to a 3. And I'm not so much focused on riding it up off of the ridge. I'm just making sure that I use the echo blade. I'm making sure that I use this echo blade to hear all the hair being cut, using combination what I can see with my eyes. Y'all are looking at the angle right now to know when I need to stop going up with that 3. And now again here with this 2, at the very bottom of the nape, remember you gotta turn that clipper around. A lot of times we forget that this is even a thing because obviously the majority of our customers are asking for like skin tapers, so all this is already balded out. But for clients who do prefer to have the dark finish at the bottom of their haircut with a lineup, don't forget to turn that clipper to the side, guys. All that wispy hair, you gotta make sure that's all even. Even if you think you might clear it out anyway with a lineup, just gotta make sure that you're diligent at every step. For request, we're gonna go ahead and square this joint off. Very natural on the lineup. I'm only getting rid of the little thin hairs that make it look less sharp. And now check this out here too. You can turn this clipper on its side and just sculpt it. Let that hair tuck behind the ear. Pull down anything that naturally wants to go over. Nip it. Now let's take it to the other side and do the same thing. So here's the thing too, I want you guys to see is like, don't be afraid to let the trimmer ride on the ear, because you can see even though it's here and this technically is a moving blade, it doesn't actually cut until the very tip. So if I need to let this trimmer kind of rock on the side of his ear just to be able to complement the natural shape, then that's not a problem. I'm not worried about his ear being cut by the trimmer. Put your head down. The only way that it might is literally if you were to go straight in like that. Obviously my trimmer wasn't on, but if you were to go straight in like that, that's a concern. But otherwise, you're good. None of this back here is gonna cut anybody. Now, as far as determining where I want this lineup to be, you can see there's a big thin area here, a little thinner area here because that's where it starts to come in. Obviously, we're not gonna give them a V in the back, right? So let's go ahead and cut right about here because you can see there's a difference in that darkness and that thinness, right? So I'm gonna cut right there. We'll just cut the tail off the very bottom here. And now we can kind of just like rock back and forth so that way we can make sure that we have a nice even lineup. And even if they're not doing the beard service, guys, just make sure that you never leave them with a soft, always leave them with, I mean, a soft finish at the very top of the beard, especially if they plan to shave it later on. But the easiest way, guys, I don't know if you're familiar with this, and I know Basio has shown us before, but look, if you literally take the back of the trimmer and just rock downwards, I feel like some of the hair kind of feeds through those gaps right there in the teeth, and it just gives it a real soft, easy taper, you know? So I'm gonna go ahead and blow dry style the hair. We'll take a couple pictures at the end. Look guys, as I blow dry this hair, here's a couple pictures of the finished product, man. And if you guys like the clipper set that we use, it's gonna be available in October, but you gotta put your pre-orders in now if you wanna be one of the first people on Instagram to have that clipper, man. So definitely use the discount code up in the corner. I appreciate you guys watching, and if y'all have any feedback or anything like that, let me know. Any questions, any requests, let me know in the comment section below. Like I put in the intro clip of this video, I'm definitely gonna have some memberships available on the channel, and that could give you guys some more tailored content specific to your needs. You know, maybe some live members only feeds one of these days. But what I'm definitely gonna do for you, like I said in the intro clip to this video, is that I'm gonna have, these videos are scheduled way ahead of time, sometimes a week, 2 weeks, a month in advance. So if you don't wanna wait until the scheduled release every Tuesday morning at 6 a.m., then definitely sign up for a membership, because at that point, you don't have to wait for the schedule to be released. You might be watching 3-4 videos that are released ahead of time already that the rest of the public has to wait for. So if that's something that you want, guys, go ahead and sign up for that. And send me a screenshot once you do. I'll definitely give you a shout out on Instagram. See if I can help you with some followers.